Hello and welcome back to the All the Pies YouTube channel. My name's Kev, that's Davy, and we're back with another podcast today where we're going to have a little look back at the Blackburn Rovers game when Newcastle United scraped through by the skin of the teeth. And we'll also take a look ahead to the weekend's game against Wolverhampton at St James's Park. So, as always, without further ado, let's get into it.
God, he scored so many goals.
Alright,
All right.
do me a bit mime there, me big eyes and all that.
It was good. Hollywood beckons.
Wait, I'm already in a Hollywood movie, man. What are you talking about?
It's true. It's true. Aye, yeah. We are the Geordies. Get it downloaded. Get it watched. See Davy Craig.
My mate from Ireland, he's not even into football. I was talking with him about it the other day, and he's watched it, and he absolutely loves it. And he's not even into football, and he's like, "Oh, it's brilliant," you know. Newcastle
really
fans
good.
need to watch it. It's a real feel-good film. But anyway, we're not talking.
It's an excellent movie. Zara, who you did the movie with, Sai's been in a movie with her
Jimmy,
as well.
I know.
He was in the
I've seen
Stag
it.
Do.
I've got it.
Got it on DVD, are you?
I've got it. Sai hasn't even got it on DVD.
Well, it'll be in there somewhere.
He was given one at the premiere and he left it behind, and
that is classic.
Anyway,
Sai.
that's Sai for you. But there you go.
So yeah, well, we're gonna have a little look back at the action from Tuesday night where we just managed to scrape through. Like I said before, got through on penalties. But I think it's only fair, Dave, that before we do get into it, I ask you a common question on this channel, which is, are you ready?
Oh, I don't know if I am the day. Like I'm. Go
Have
on.
a little think about it. Are you sure you're ready?
Go on. I think. Go on. I'm ready.
Are you fucking ready?
Okay, let's go.
I can't even see the screen, mate. I've been doing stuff on the computer all flaming day, and my eyes have gone. I can barely. It's just like totally out of focus. So
well, I mean, the game the other day, the first thing that sort of sprung to mind was the teams that we had picked. It was kind of a mix of the team I picked and the team you picked, wasn't it? I mean, there was some. You were right about Botman getting rested.
Yeah,
he didn't make the starting lineup. Opting for the cells.
I wasn't sure about Dubravka, but I'm pleased he played.
Yeah, definitely. He had a really good game, and Willock starting as well. That was another one. But Barnes, Gordon, and Isaac was the front three, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you were mistaken.
I am mistaken.
Murphy,
not Barnes. Murphy, Gordon, and Isaac. So it looked like a really, really strong team. And when I saw the team, I thought myself, right, okay, here we go. We really should win this convincingly, and it certainly wasn't the case. What was your feelings of the first half? What you got to say about it? I'm sure you've got plenty of opinions on it.
My first feelings were like I was there. First of all, got there about 4:30. My son Alex rang us before 8 o'clock in the morning. Wasn't well, couldn't go, so I had to ring round, see who was available to go, and one of my mates got back in touch, and everybody was either at work or couldn't make it, and I thought, I'm not going to be able to bloody go, you know. But I was nearly going to ring you and see if you fancied chucking a sickie from work, like, you know, but I knew you wouldn't be able to.
I didn't work, because I know some people from work watch this. I was there, right? Check the records.
But we went in. It opened at 6:30. The gates opened at 6:30, and there were people standing outside. Like, you know, there was loads of people outside waiting to get in. There was 7,000 fans, and I heard they were checking. They didn't check my ID with us going in the wheelchair, but I heard they were checking everybody's ID. So we're sitting there waiting. It was bloody freezing cold, and they announced 15-minute delay, and I thought, it's an extra bloody 15 minutes on top of my journey getting home. And the match started, and to be honest, I thought, yeah, we've got a decent side out here, and I felt quite arrogant about it. I thought, yeah,
Me too. Me too.
they're 4 points off the bottom three. They haven't been playing well. They haven't won since the new manager came in, and I think my arrogance was in a way mirrored by the team. At the first 20 minutes, it felt like there was this almost inevitability that they thought they were just going to win. They just had
had
to
to turn
go
up.
through it and turn up, and they were going to win. And Blackburn had other things on their mind, you know. And to be honest, I didn't think anybody really played well in the first half for us. And I was impressed with Smodics, their centre forward,
Well,
the number 8.
I was about to say, Davey, the two players that we sort of gave a nod to before the game, probably
Yeah,
their two best players, and that was Britain and
yeah,
definitely Smodics. He's I don't want to sound disrespectful to Blackburn, but he's probably too good to be in that team, isn't he? Smodics, he looks like a proper number
yeah.
9, doesn't he? He's in and about whenever there's any sort of chance, he seems to be there playing some part in it, and that's a sign of a player that's probably
I
playing in
know.
a team he's a bit better than.
He scored 24 goals this season, apparently.
The top
You
scorer in
know
the
what I
FA
mean?
Cup.
Yeah, but he scored 18 league goals in a poor side, you know. Now, the way I saw it, I remember, like, I watched a fair bit of them last season, as I mentioned, because John Dal Thomason took over, and I wasn't impressed at all. And it reminded me of when Ardiles was manager at Newcastle, where he was trying to get them to play like really nice football and whatever, but they just didn't have that steel behind them. You know, they didn't have that physical presence. And the one player that they did have that had that presence, he went to Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
You know, and Broughton Diaz was the best player, I thought, and he left as well. So I just thought, you know, that we should beat them. Basically, it's one of them things. But the thing that they did, and people are sick of me saying it, right? Newcastle play a 4-5-1 when we haven't got the ball. When they didn't have the ball, they've been playing a 5 at the back recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what they did is they changed it. They must have thought, right, we're going to have 3 up front, and Isak is quite isolated. So I think instead of them playing the 3, they played the 4. But instead of playing a 4-5-1, they had a 4-2-3-1, and they were very close. So you had the 2, they were really close to the back 4, and then the 3 in front of them were really close and narrow in front of those other 2, and then the Smodics was a little bit further up, so he was a little bit of an outlet. There were times when the ball was kicked higher. If he had have been further up the pitch, I think he would have gotten in behind, you
Yeah.
know, but that didn't happen. But the way that they played, they were quite narrow,
Really narrow. Yeah, I noticed that.
but they played those 3 lines, so there was no space to play in between, which made it difficult for us. The passing wasn't great from our team. You know, we got into a number of positions, and the final ball just wasn't there. But I think that's why, and I think you've got to give Blackburn credit, because they saturated that area and they didn't allow us to play in between them at all. And both, I thought, you know, down the left-hand side, I thought Willock and Gordon were decent. They were okay. But again, the final ball wasn't quite there for them, and they were like scraps. Isak didn't really get much of the ball. Murphy kept coming inside, and I was disappointed with Murphy because I thought he should have gone. The space was out wide, and he didn't use it, and Trippier didn't come up behind as much as he would normally do. And I think you've got to give credit to them, to be honest. And then half time, I thought we're going to come out and
Well, just before we move
he's
on to
going to
the
give them
second
a
half,
go on then, go on.
you brought up a good point there, because I mean, my views on the first half is that we weren't passing it about quick enough.
Yeah,
It was going sideways far too often, and that continued into the second half. But you made a point there about Kieran Trippier not sort of getting up in coming in behind and putting those sometimes almost diagonal crosses that come in from him somewhere
Yeah.
just outside the 18-yard area. And when he's not doing that, we don't have a crosser of the ball, do we?
Yeah, I
And
know.
when you've got someone like
That's what he wanted
Isak,
Murphy to do, because Murphy can use both feet, and
mhm,
that's what I was hoping from him, and it just didn't happen.
and that's what I was hoping, and I think they really cottoned onto that very early in the game, because, like you said, they made the middle so compact that
Yeah,
we were trying to pass it around the 18-yard area and look for. And a couple of times, Bruno Guimaraes was trying to look to get a ball through the eye of a needle, and
yeah,
he tried it a couple of times. A couple of times it worked. A couple of times it didn't. Now, what really sort of disappointed me the second half, I thought, right, okay, we're getting in there 0-0. It's not a great performance. He's going to have a word with them, and hopefully he's going to say to them, look, just get the ball forward that little bit quicker. Our build up is too slow. We're giving them time to get back and,
yeah.
and absolutely swamp that middle. And if anything, it got slower in the second half.
I know.
There was times where, and I don't think it's his fault, by the way. There was times where Fabian Shaw was stood with the ball, not walking, just stood still for like 5 seconds, 10 seconds,
I
looking
was
around
talking
like
with
that. And
I was talking with my mate yesterday about it, and he likened Shea to, it was like watching John Joe Shelby,
mhm,
kind of,
it's true.
stood on the ball and looking for to play a killer pass,
Yeah,
and none of them came off.
because it was
That
too compact,
Yeah,
and
exactly. There was no
we
space.
if you knew if he was going to play that sort of ball, it was going to get picked up, and the chance it was going to come back it with. And so
Yeah,
that's why I don't partly blame him. It's the lack of movement, but there was a lack of movement because it was too compact. We
yeah,
just, for whatever reason, were getting no joy down the outside, so we just completely called it off. And ironically enough, when Almiron came on, it was him using the outside that got us a
yeah.
bit of joy. Kind of cutting
He
in, not with the
changed it.
crosses.
He changed it because the tempo changed, because he was running, like he does, like a dog chasing a car. He was chasing everything, and he made it difficult for their fullback turning. And he caught him out a few times, and I think he did really well for the goal. But even leading up to that, it just seemed there was a different atmosphere, because the energy that he brought, and Barnes as well. When Barnes come on, he offered a little bit more outside, and
Well,
Gordon come inside.
For me with Barnes, it went from one extreme to the other. Now there was times where Barnes was on the left hand side and we had the ball on the right hand side, and he's still hugging right on the line.
Yeah,
And I'm yelling at the
for to
screen.
come
I'm
in.
come in, come in, come in.
Uh,
What are you going to do out there? We need men in the box.
yeah,
And another thing that was quite disappointing. I know I'm sounding a little bit negative here. There was positives in the game as well. I don't think we played as bad as we did against Arsenal.
yeah.
I did see improvements from the Arsenal game, although it wasn't ideal. And I know it's a team that are 15th in the championship, and everyone's like, "Oh,
It
you should
wasn't
roll them
that
up," but it's the cup.
reaction. It wasn't
It's
that
the cup.
reaction that we hoped for, really, though.
It wasn't really, no, it wasn't. And I think we were lucky to get through. But I mean, some of the positives, I thought Almiron did well when he came on. It was a lovely drop of the shoulder for the goal. He absolutely sold the defender,
Yeah, definitely.
and
Yeah.
it was a nice ball across.
I
But
got loads of messages as well when I got in, because when the close-ups came up of Gordon after he scored, it was my face that was right
was it?
behind
Oh,
him.
I'll have to watch that back. I didn't notice it. I'll have
loads
to
of
watch it back.
loads of people sending us photos of their telly and all that sort of stuff with me in it. So, like, I've
But I
never
mean,
been on the telly before.
we had
But
chances, or didn't we? I mean, when you think of some of the chances, Davy, for
oh,
example,
I
the
know.
one-on-one with Gordon, the double stop by their keeper twice. Some of the finishing
Yeah,
now,
it
and
was
some
poor.
it was poor, and it's not like these players are poor finishers. They're not poor finishers.
I
It goes
know.
into what we said on the last video, and there's a distinct lack of confidence. If the confidence is high, we probably score quite a few goals on that game.
I think their
Um,
keeper did what he did enough, but he didn't have a fantastic game. And I think, because our finishing just wasn't great.
it
I
wasn't,
think,
and it should have never really went to penalties.
yeah,
Blackburn could be saying the same.
yeah,
There was a bit of an instinctive save by Dubravka towards the end of the 90 minutes, where a deflected shot, which I think was probably going wide,
yeah,
a big deflection, and he used his legs. At that
yeah.
moment, I was I was sweating. I must
I
say,
just
like,
wanted to mention about their goal though, right? Because again, I was talking yesterday with my mate Davy, and we were discussing it, and I think the thing that we both agreed on, we went to 3 at the back towards the end of that 90 minutes, right? And instead of having no nonsense, just get stuck in and get rid of the ball, defender Lascelles in the middle, with Shea, who's more adept at coming out wide and being able to, play a bit more football. It was Lascelles that was the one that was outside, and Shea was the one that was in the middle, and Byrne was on the left, And I think if they'd swapped those two over, then Lascelles, for the throw in that they had, Lascelles kind of launched himself. He lost track of where the ball was, but he panicked a little bit. I don't think Fabian Shea would have done that. And I'm not having to go at Lascelles, but I think Lascelles should have been the one in the centre, and Shea being the one to cover more, because you've got to, when you're in that position in a back three, you basically you're doing both roles. You're like a centre, you're like the right centre half, but you're also filling at fullback. And Lascelles isn't that player. Shea is, and I thought tactically we got that wrong. Where I think if they'd swapped over,
2 seconds. Hello. Oh, she's got shy.
I thought that I thought it was a ghost, but it was actually somebody there.
You went a bit pale there, Davy. You went a bit pale there. Sorry, carry on.
So I thought that was a little tactical thing that went wrong, that led to the goal. I'm gonna say that, but they looked like a team that looked more. They wanted it more. That's how it felt when we were there. And I felt that we were lucky because that last 5 minutes, they had more chances than we did. And they seemed to be pushing for it.
And that Lascelles moving on the right-hand side was the downfall for the goal. I mean, it was a big mistake. It was one of them where he's just completely mistimed the header, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And it looks terrible on camera because you're kind of saying, what are you doing? And it's almost like he got stuck in two minds whether to sort of use his knee to get it out, to head it out, and he's just missed the ball completely, and we're being punished.
I mean, Dubravka made a fantastic save. Unfortunately, came back off the bar, but then nobody reacted.
Well, one man reacted.
Obviously, he's looking at it and he did his job and he slotted it in, and
that's what you want from a centre forward, to be gambling in those areas. He positioned himself thinking, if this doesn't go in, I know where it's popping out. And he was right, and he did what any good centre forward does. And I think he looks too good to be in the Championship. I'm sorry, Blackburn.
Well, I didn't realise he's about 28. I thought he was younger, and I thought, like, if he's 22, 23, I would maybe look to bring him in, because his movement and his position play, his touch, his hold up play, link in with other players. I thought he just looked really, really good, and his finishing looked good. And but I think he's about 28. And he's been in the Ireland squad, but apparently not played. So I don't know what's going on there.
I think he'll get another call up soon, based on his performances this season. But moving into extra time, I think we looked a bit better.
Yeah, we looked better, but it still wasn't. It still wasn't great, And
it was just the finishing again, wasn't it? I think if anybody was going to score in extra time, it was going to be us. Wasn't to be. We had some really good chances. Bruno really should have scored with his chance. Hit it anywhere else, and it's a goal. Hit it right at the keeper, unfortunately. And I don't know if you've seen the video that's going around social media of Mickey Almiron's reaction to Bruno's miss.
No, I haven't seen it.
There he goes. To the fans, as it was
probably the same as my reaction.
Yeah, I think that was everybody's reaction. But it was a Tuesday night. I had work the next day. It was meant to be a nice, easy night.
Tell us about it.
I don't want these emotions. I don't want these emotions on a Tuesday night away to Blackburn. But we had the emotions, and we got
didn't finish till nearly 11 o'clock, and I'm like, we all had to go,
But the penalties, we got off to the perfect start. Scored our first one. They missed their first one. Harvey Barnes stepped up. Never looked like he was going to score the penalty. he'd had that poor finish during the game, and I don't know if that had get into his head or whatever. But
Possibly.
and he did something I hate seeing on penalties, and that's it directly straight run up. I never like a straight run up. I'm not sure you can really get the power or placement that you need when you're running in a straight line to the ball. And I think their first penalty that they missed was a similar story. He ran in a straight line as well. Bruno's penalty was another heart in your mouth moment, if you remember from the cup last season when he did a similar run up and stuck it over the bar. When I seen him doing his little foxtrot up to the ball, I was thinking, "What are you doing, Bruno? Man, just hit it!" But
I thought he was going to fall over.
I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah,
but he scored it, and then it came to 4-4. We scored, 4-3.
4-3, yeah.
4-3, and then cometh the man, cometh the hour.
Yeah, it was good save.
He's made up from his mistake against Wolverhampton. Now he'll be confident after that, because it was a really, really good save, because it wasn't a terrible penalty. Fair enough, it might have been a good height for the keeper, but it did have power on it, and he managed to knock it onto the post. And yourself and the Newcastle United fans take a breath of relief.
Yeah.
And make it through to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was kind of. I didn't think we were going to win the penalties, because we've never won penalties in the FA Cup, and I think I can only remember one penalty win out of all the penalties shootouts that we've had, and I just thought, when Barnes missed his, I thought, oh, here we go, this is it. So I was kind of like, I just want to go home now, and it was a weird feeling. Obviously, I was pleased that we won, but it felt like it was almost like not really that well deserved. I thought they probably deserved to win a little bit more. It felt like we nicked it, I've seen a few comments of people saying similar things, and there was a lot of people around who were saying exactly the same things, like actually on the night, because we were celebrating winning, but it was like, we really dodged a banana skin there, like, and if we'd lost, I wouldn't have been overly disappointed the way it went, because I honestly thought they played well. I thought they did really well. They gave her a good game, and then there's part of us thinking, see what the draw is, and we're hoping for an easy home draw, and we've got
and that's
neither.
exactly what we've got. That's exactly what the easiest draw out there. And I've seen a few people on social media say, "Let's corrupt this." I was like, "How's it corrupt? It's a draw."
It's not. It's a draw.
You think David Seaman's clever enough to to feel for different sized balls? And man, let's
I've seen loads of that, and it's just daft. It's not good. They wouldn't dare. It's not corrupt at all. It's a draw. There was the one. There was the one where they got the numbers wrong, and where the guy looked like he could actually see the numbers. There was that one for the League Cup.
Yeah.
The Carabao Cup, which looked a bit dodgy, but it's just a draw. It's just the look of the draw, the unlook of the draw. So it's disappointing, and I'm kind of my immediate thought was, I'd rather be humiliated at Man City in the 6th round than being humiliated at Wembley in the semi-final or the final.
Well,
but it's there to win, we're just going to go for it. We're going to go for it.
You've got to play these teams sooner or later, right? And
just the way we're playing at the minute, I can't.
The Carabao Cup, we nicked one, but Haaland's on fire, so that's a one for another day. One thing to mention before we move on to the game tomorrow is, as a result of that, the Crystal Palace game is now being moved, so we play on the Saturday where we would have been playing Crystal Palace. So just thought I'd mention that. But
it was funny when we headed off, because we got away before the coaches, just the way that we were parked, and there was loads of cars straight up the M6, and it was really funny because got on the turn off for the A66, and my mate Mark that I was with, he was like, "Davey, can you stop? Like, first stop, I need to like stop. I need to have a wee." And we stopped, and there was about 4 cars stopped at the same time but all Newcastle fans getting off and having to pee in the bushes. And there was a lass got out the car in front, and she climbed over the wall for to have a pee behind the wall. And somebody came out with a phone and a camera, and they had the light on, and he's killed himself laughing. Obviously, there's a video of some poor lass having a pee behind the wall
Oh God, aye, yeah,
on the way
yeah.
to Kirkby, Stephen. But yeah, it was a good day. It was a good day. It was just, it shouldn't have been nervy and all of that. It shouldn't have happened, but it did, and we're through, and we'll see what happens from here on. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, we now turn our attentions to this weekend. 3 p.m. kick-off in the Premier League. Newcastle United back at St James's Park against what has to be said, a Wolves team that is doing a lot better this season than I give them credit for at the beginning of
Yeah.
the season. I was worried about this Wolves team at the beginning of the season. I thought they might have been in and about a relegation scrap, but
Yeah.
no, it's not the case at all. They look a really tidy outfit, and this is not going to be easy on Saturday.
Well, I was at the away fixture, and it was the first one where Trippier had an off day, and it seemed to affect everybody else in the side. And we were dead lucky with the penalty incident, and I thought we were actually lucky because Neto looked like he was just about to score, and his hamstring went, and that kind of just took the fight out of them a little bit. But we were lucky to get a point against them. And they've got Neto back. They've got players who are doing well. The Semedo's doing well. They're playing three at the back. Usually, Semedo, Lamina, good players. Sarabia's playing well. Neto's a really good player, you know. And
Huang as well. He's got
Dawson's he's an old warrior. Dawson at the back, you know, and he knows what to do, and he's a decent defender, you know. And
even Boubacar Traore. I think he's a decent player as well. He's
I haven't even got him in my team for the weekend, but again, he's a decent player. They've got Gomez and I Nori.
They've got a good
They've
squad.
got a
They've got a
good
really
side,
good
you know. They're
squad,
playing well.
and
They're above us.
Yeah, I mean, and they probably deserve to be. When you see them in games, they're always in games. And yeah, we normally go through players to watch.
Yeah,
And I mean, the number one we've got to watch is Pedro Neto. He's having a
Neto.
fantastic season, and
Yeah,
he's lightning on the outside. Normally plays on the right, but he can come inside. He's got a shot on him. He's got a cross on him. He can take players on. He causes a lot of danger. But another one I mentioned before, the He Chang Huang. Is he injured, or is he? I think
no,
he's
he
already
played.
injured.
He played the other night. He didn't. He got the lowest score on the different ratings that I've looked at. But he's another one. He can drift in and out of games, but he looks half decent, you know. He came off on 90 minutes, I think, and I think it was I think Traore came on for him. I might be wrong, it might be the other way around. I can't remember, but he's another one you kind of discount, you know. When you've got players like Neto and Sarabia and Semedo and Lamina, they're all players I would go for in the summer. All of them, you know. Gomez as well. João Gomez, rather, the midfielder.
And
And
when you look at some of the
they're
teams
decent players, yeah.
and when you look at some of the teams that they're beaten as well, they're not easy teams to beat. I mean, I'm looking
Yeah,
at some of the results they've had. They've just beaten Brighton last night in the cup 1-0.
yeah.
Fair enough, they only got a 1-0 win over Sheffield United, but one nonetheless. They beat
Yeah, they
Tottenham.
won. Exactly.
Yeah, they beat Tottenham at the Tottenham Stadium. Fair enough, bad result against Brentford at home, but
Yeah.
also beating Chelsea at Chelsea Stadium 4-2. Unlucky against Man U 4-3. What a game that was.
Yeah.
The,
They
some
played really well.
they've beaten Brentford this season. They drew with us. They've actually beat Chelsea twice. They've beaten some good teams where I think they've done the double on Tottenham as well, haven't they? Haven't they beaten
I
Tottenham
don't know if they've
twice?
done. I don't know. You might be right, but
I'm sure they've done the double on Tottenham. But
it's not
anyways,
going to be easy. Like, it's not going to be easy. Yeah.
exactly, and these are a team where if you're not on your best form, there's every chance you can get beat. Now, looking at our form, like I said, I did see a bit of an improvement, but there's levels, isn't there?
Yeah,
If we
exactly.
if we have that same level of performance that we had against Blackburn, we'll not get away with it the way we did against Blackburn. We will be punished. So
Yeah.
Eddie Howe's he's got a few days to get them in and to get them drilled, because they're going to have to be drilled for this one.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of moves on nicely on to what your setup would be against Wolves for this particular game.
Well, I've gone to Bravka, Trippier and Shea, and I think Botman might come back in. I don't know whether he's going to knock. I think it was just he needed a rest, to be honest. I think he'll be back.
Yeah.
And I think he'll play Livramento. I've just got a feeling he's got to play Livramento against Neto. Now, Neto can play, Neto and Sarabia can play either side. And the way they play with a 3-4-2-1, they're going to drift in between the lines, and they'll be switching back and forwards, and you've got Semedo coming down that side with either Neto or Sarabia, and whoever's going to be playing at left back is going to have a tough time, So I've got a feeling he might play Livramento. I think Longstaff has looked tired the last two games. He's played every game, just about every minute since he came back from injury, and it looks like it's taking a toll. But I've just got a feeling he's still going to play him. Personally, I was thinking there's a possibility that he might have played Anderson in place of Longstaff and gone. So I've got Longstaff with a slight question mark and possible Anderson instead. Bruno in the middle, and I think he'll play Willock. I think he'll start Willock again. There's a possibility that Miley could be in there for Longstaff. He just looked knackered. He just didn't. He didn't do the things that he normally. Last two games, he's looked really out of sorts. So I've gone Longstaff, Bruno, Willock, but I'm not sure he will play Longstaff. And then because of what he did when he came on, I've just got, and I didn't think Murphy looked great. He didn't look very good. I was disappointed for him, basically. I think he'll play Almiron, Isak, and Gordon up front. That's who I think he'll play. And I think Barnes might come on at some point. I don't think Isak will play much more than the hour, because he's still our only striker, and he's got to look after him, basically. So I think he might play an hour, 70 minutes at the most. Gordon come inside and Barnes come on. That's where I've gone for. That's what I think will happen.
Well, we've got the same team. Basically, we've got the same team. So yeah, I agree with you on the Livramento. I mean, we've been saying that teams target the right hand side when Dan Burns playing. I think irrelevant of who's playing, they're probably going to target that right hand side because of the Neto factor. He is somebody that can really
he's a cracking player.
Yeah, he really can get up players and make things happen. So and because of his pace, I think he has to play Livramento, really, doesn't he? Because otherwise Burns going to have such a torrid time.
I've got to say that when we played them away, his pace was amazing, and he's a very tricky player. He goes inside, outside. He drops his shoulder, he can go both ways, and then he can still end up turning and going somewhere else. But he runs with the ball at players. Now, Burn, I thought, did really well against him when he was running at him. But it's when he was running outside him and chasing the ball outside him. When we were playing that little bit deeper, I thought Burn did well, because positionally Burn does really well. I think he is a good defender when he's playing in that position. It's when the balls are playing in behind.
Yeah,
now that's the one thing with playing at home. Will we play a higher line, and will we try and press a bit higher the way that we play? I think we'll try and go at them a bit more. But then once they get the ball, are we going to revert to that 4-5-1, and are they going to look to try and get him over the top? And that's the worry. That's the concern that I've got, where I would play Livramento. That's why I would play him.
Exactly, and it's just those extra legs that you're going to need. I think we'll see Burn on the pitch at
Yeah,
some stage, but I'm not sure if it's the correct decision. We'll go back to that saying that we said the other week: the horses for courses. This doesn't look like his course at all from the outside looking in before the ball's kicked. It feels like you need somebody with a little bit more legs to keep up with Neto. Then
yeah,
once the game goes on, obviously Neto can't keep that pace up the entire game. Then you bring Burn into it.
yeah.
As for the midfield, I had the same thoughts as well about Anderson, but I did read something where apparently Eddie Howe said he didn't have 10 minutes in him. That he literally brought him on
Really?
for the penalty because he hadn't trained.
Right,
He brought
right.
him on
Oh
literally
well, he'll not be
for the
bringing him on
for
then.
the
Yeah,
penalty. So if he hasn't got 10 minutes in him,
yeah.
he'll,
I
he'll,
didn't read
he'll
that. I
not be
didn't see
starting.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
he'll not.
so he'll not be starting. So I've also went with obviously Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Willock, and I've went with Longstaff as well. I agree with you. I think he did look tired. However, I think he's still going to play him. It was between him and Miley really,
Yeah, yeah,
and I think Eddie Howe. I think he trusts Longstaff. He really
yeah,
does trust him, and I think there's going to be a bit of a battle going on in his area that he'll want that trust in Longstaff to be part of that
yeah.
battle. Um, I
I
agree with
think I
Almiron
think
as well.
him and Almiron and Trippier work well together as a three
Yeah.
down that side.
Mhm.
He makes those runs off the ball and creates space for the other two. He does that all the time, you know. So he just looked knackered the last two
Mhm.
games. So we'll see
And
what happens.
yeah, I've went obviously Gordon on the left,
Yeah,
Almiron I've went on the right. I think he's a confidence player, Almiron, so it's probably the right decision to do that because I thought he looked pretty good when he came on against Blackburn, and maybe that'll boost his confidence. He looked fast and he looked quite hungry as well. So I'm hoping he carries that into Saturday as well. And Isaac, I just hope we get a little bit more stuff into Isaac's feet
yeah. He's still
because
coming back from injury, remember? So you know he didn't look sharp, but
he didn't look
he's got
sharp. There was a one occasion where he had a really bad touch, and
yeah,
it is coming back from injury. But it's Isaac. He likes the ball. His feet. He
yeah,
likes to
yeah,
take players on. He likes to snap shots, and the more we can give him the ball, the better we're going to see of him. I think the last couple of games we haven't really given that much to feed on. So I hope
yeah.
we do give him a little bit more to feed on. And I think Miguel Almiron would be a good player to perhaps bring him into the game a little bit more as well. So that's the reasons I
Hopefully,
went for exactly the same team as you.
yeah.
So before we finish up, then Davey, I want your scoreline and your scorers.
I was. I don't like saying that the other team are going to score, and I was going to say two. I was going to say 2-1 to us, but I'm going to go 1-0. I think. I think we will basically try and get a goal early on, and I think we'll just try. I think we'll try and hang on, and I've got a feeling we might just manage to do it. So I'm going to say Isak 1-0.
Aye.
Trying to be positive.
And if I'm being honest, I think it's going to be a draw. But
I
that's
think it's more than
that's
likely going to be a draw, but I've just got to. I think you know we're through to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. We're still within a shout of getting Europe,
we've been in a
and
semi-final already.
we've come through all of these injuries. We're now at the point where we're feeling the back end of all of the injuries, the toll of it, where players have played every minute for a long time, but we're now starting to get a couple of players back, and I just hope
Well, that's
that
one thing
you
about
know
the other
that
day as well. The bench looked better, didn't it? The
we
bench
still haven't
looked.
had that kickback, and we've got the kickback from last weekend and Tuesday night, and you
Mm,
know, I'm just hoping that you know, with it having that extra couple of days. I know we played the extra half an hour and things like that, but we did use, you know, we used the subs and that. Um, I think we're going to go for it. I
yeah.
just really think with that first half an hour we're going to really go for it, and hopefully it
Well,
might be, you know, we might surprise them, and yeah,
yeah.
I'm
Well,
gonna, but I think
I hope.
1-0,
I,
1-0.
I hope you're right. I mean, if I'm being honest, I do think it's going to be a draw, but I'm not going to go with that because it's all the pies and we're fucking mad. Yeah, we just give wins all the time.
And I would be top of the league with
It's gotta be
100%.
6-5 again.
I bet you that's where it'll happen. It'll be bloody 6-5.
No, I'm going 2-1. I am going to go 2-1. I'm going to go for Neto for them, and I think Isaac's going to get on the score sheet, and I'm going Joe Willock. I'm going to go for a goal for Joe
Yeah, I
Willock.
think it's a good shout.
So
His goal the other day was tremendous. His header was tremendous. Yeah. He's a great player. He's a great player, and I'm so pleased he's back, you know. And
so am I. He had something a little bit different to it. I mean,
yeah,
whenever I think of Joe Willock, the thing that always comes to mind is the game against Tottenham and that absolutely sensational ball that he played through to Isaac for his first goal was sublime. And that's the type of thing he can do. He's a dangerous player, and sometimes he goes unnoticed for a little while, and then all of a sudden just pulls something out of the bag where you go, oh yeah, there he is. That's the player.
yeah.
So hopefully that's a Joe Willock we'll see on Saturday. But look, yeah, that's what I'm going for. 2-1, and we'll see. We'll be back to talk about it, whatever happens, and hopefully we'll be here with smiles on our faces. And I think amongst anything else, the performance is really important on this game. So I hope when we do come back, we're talking about how there was an improvement on the performance, and we saw a move in the right direction and not another poor performance.
Yeah.
But as always, if you've gotten to this part of the video, thank you very much. We really do appreciate it. Please let other people know what we're doing. If you enjoy it, let people know. Let's get some views in. Let's get shared about. Let's let people know what it is that we're doing and what we're talking about. It's a fan channel, and we try to look at things with a bit of a level head and try to talk about it without getting the emotions involved too much. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Give it a like. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe as well. And remember, put in the comments your scorer and your score lines. I saw a couple there the other day. Somebody will get it right, and they will get that prize. I might give you me Gary Newman picture over there. I might give you me Gary Newman.
I tried to get tickets for Gary Newman, and it's sold out.
Have you? Well, never mind. Well, if anybody has Gary Newman tickets, get in touch with Davy. We love you.
It's wheelchair platform tickets, man.
Is it? All right. Well, get in touch with me. I'll take them.
Sold out straight away. But there you can.
So, yeah, like I said, we'll be back after the Wolves game to have a bit of a debrief. But until then, Davy, come on.
Howie.